I, 22F, never thought I would be writing this post, but I really need advice. This is a long story, but please bear with me as I need to give proper context. I met my husband Samuel, 31M, at my first job 4 years ago. I was 18, fresh out of high school, and starting as a junior customer service representative at a tech company. Samuel was a senior team lead in sales, known for his charisma and success in closing big deals. I was immediately drawn to him. He was confident, successful, and seemed so mature compared to guys my age. My family situation wasn't great at the time. My parents had just gone through a messy divorce, and I was living with my sister Sarah, 26F, while trying to figure out life. I probably should mention that I had just gotten out of a really toxic relationship with my high school boyfriend who cheated on me multiple times and constantly put me down about my weight and appearance. Samuel started noticing me during team meetings. He would always compliment my ideas and stand up for me when other senior members dismissed my suggestions. After a few months of this subtle attention, I gathered the courage to ask him out for coffee. Looking back, I realize how his face lit up with this weird satisfaction when I asked, but at the time I was just thrilled he said yes. Our early dating phase was intense. He took me to expensive restaurants, bought me gifts, and made me feel special in ways no one ever had. My best friend Katie, 23F, who also works at the company, seemed hesitant about our relationship but never said why. My sister warned me about the age gap, but I was convinced Samuel was different. He seemed so caring and protective. Within a month of dating, I discovered I was pregnant. I was terrified of telling him, thinking he would leave like my ex did. But Samuel surprised me by seeming excited. He said he had always wanted kids and suggested we move in together right away. When he proposed 2 months later, saying he wanted our child to have a proper family, I was over the moon. We got married when I was 6 months pregnant, with just immediate family present. Before we got married, I was very clear about my boundaries and past traumas. I told him about my ex's cheating and how it destroyed my self-esteem. I opened up about being bullied in high school for my weight, and how I still struggle with body image issues. I also explained that I wasn't comfortable with partners watching adult content because my ex had been addicted to it, which affected our intimacy. Samuel seemed very understanding and promised he would never hurt me like that. Our daughter Emily was born, and the first year was like a dream. Samuel was an attentive father, helped with night feedings, and constantly told me how lucky he was to have us. But things started changing around Emily's first birthday. It was subtle at first. He would say he was working late, but I'd later hear from coworkers that he left early. He started password protecting his phone, saying it was for work privacy. The comments about my body started gradually. He would show me Instagram posts of fitness models who had just had babies, asking why I couldn't look like that. When I got emotional about these comments, he would say I was too sensitive and needed to learn to take constructive criticism. He started making jokes about my weight in front of his friends, passing them off as playful teasing when I got upset. Then I discovered his adult content addiction. It wasn't just occasional viewing, he had paid subscriptions to multiple sites and was even interacting with creators. When I confronted him, he turned it around on me, saying I was being controlling and that all men do this. He called me paranoid and said my past trauma was making me crazy. His behavior towards Emily changed too. He would promise to watch her so I could go to the gym, his constant suggestion, but then I'd come home to find her crying in her playpen while he was glued to his phone. When I confronted him about anything, he would either walk away or start recording me on his phone, saying he needed evidence of my unstable behavior. Last week, everything came to a head. I found messages on his iPad, which was linked to his phone, showing he'd been meeting his ex-girlfriend Anna regularly for the past 2 years. These weren't just casual lunches, they were meeting at hotels during his supposed late work nights. When I confronted him, instead of denying it, he pulled up Anna's Instagram and started showing me her gym progress photos, saying, "See. She had twins and still maintains herself. That's what commitment looks like." I told him I wanted a divorce. His reaction was bizarre. He started crying hysterically, fell to his knees, promised to change, said he would do anything. He brought up Emily repeatedly, saying she would be traumatized growing up in a broken home. Then he switched to threats, saying no judge would give custody to someone with my mental health issues and paranoid tendencies. My sister Sarah says I need to leave before his emotional abuse escalates further. Katie finally admitted she feels guilty because she had heard rumors about Samuel pursuing other young employees before me, but didn't warn me because I was already pregnant when she found out. My mom, who went through a similar situation with my dad, thinks I should try to work things out for Emily's sake because all men are like this eventually. I feel so lost and stupid. How did I not see that a 27-year-old pursuing a barely legal teenager was a red flag? How did I ignore all the signs? Everyone at work still sees him as this charismatic, successful family man. Some even think I'm lucky he gave me a chance at my age. But I also feel trapped. I have a 2-year-old daughter, limited work experience, and nowhere to go except my sister's couch. Samuel makes 3 times what I make and has already hinted he would destroy me in a custody battle. Part of me still loves him and remembers how good things were in the beginning. What should I do? Am I overreacting to the cheating and body shaming? Should I try to work things out for Emily's sake? Please help me see this situation clearly. Update 1 First, I want to thank everyone for their supportive comments on my original post. Many of you highlighted how Samuel groomed me, pointing out signs I had normalized. Special thanks to those who shared similar experiences, your stories gave me courage. After reading the responses, I finally gathered the strength to leave. It wasn't easy. The night I told Samuel I was taking Emily and staying with Sarah, he had another emotional meltdown. He kept switching between crying and threatening me, saying things like you'll never make it without me and no one else will want you with a kid and all your issues. When he started throwing things, I quietly packed a bag while he was in the shower and left with Emily. Sarah has been incredibly supportive, converting her home office into a room for Emily and me. She even took time off work to help me file for separation and look for a lawyer. But living with her has made me realize how much Samuel isolated me from my family. I barely visited Sarah in the last 2 years because Samuel always had some reason why we couldn't: work events, his family commitments, or saying Sarah was a bad influence because she's single. The first week after leaving was chaos. Samuel kept switching between love bombing and threats. He sent huge flower bouquets to my workplace with cards begging me to come home. Then an hour later, he'd send texts threatening to tell HR I was emotionally unstable and unfit for my job. He even tried to convince our family doctor to tell him about my past therapy sessions. Thankfully, doctor-patient confidentiality prevented this. But the real eye-opener came when I returned to work. 2 younger female colleagues, Megan, 20F, and Rachel, 19F, reached out to me privately. Megan revealed that Samuel had been sending her inappropriate messages late at night, asking her to meet for career mentoring outside work hours. Rachel, who joined just 6 months ago, said he tried to add her on multiple social media platforms and would make comments about her outfits during team meetings. When I mentioned this to Katie over lunch, she finally broke down and told me everything. Apparently, before Samuel pursued me, he had tried the same tactics with her. He would offer to mentor her, compliment her in meetings, and eventually asked her out. Katie declined because another senior employee had warned her about Samuel's pattern with young female employees. There were at least 3 other girls before me, all following the same pattern. He would pursue them shortly after they started working, love bomb them with attention and gifts, then move on to someone new. Katie said she wanted to warn me when Samuel started showing interest, but by the time she found out we were dating, I was already pregnant and so happy. She felt telling me then would only hurt me. I understand her reasoning but can't help feeling betrayed that my best friend kept this from me. The situation at work has become increasingly uncomfortable. Samuel has started telling people I'm having a mental breakdown and making up stories about him. Because he's been there longer and is in a senior position, many people believe him. Some female colleagues have quietly supported me, but most senior managers, mostly older men, have taken his side. Yesterday, he crossed a line that convinced me I made the right choice leaving. He showed up at Emily's daycare trying to pick her up, causing a scene when they refused. I had already removed him from the approved pickup list. He called me screaming, saying he had rights as her father and would make me regret trying to keep his daughter from him. The daycare staff called security, and I had to leave work early to handle the situation. His family has also gotten involved. His mother called me crying, saying I'm tearing their family apart. She brought up her own marriage, how she stuck it out through his father's difficult phases, and now they're happy. Samuel's sister, who I thought was my friend, posted vague social media stories about attention-seeking young girls who trap men with babies. The hurt and betrayal just keep piling up. I'm documenting everything now: the threats, the daycare incident, screenshots of inappropriate messages to coworkers. My lawyer says we have a strong case for both divorce and custody, especially given the age I was when Samuel pursued me and his pattern of behavior with other young employees. Sarah is pushing me to file for a restraining order, especially after the daycare incident. She's probably right, but part of me still struggles with taking such a serious step. That sounds stupid given everything he's done, but I guess years of manipulation don't just disappear overnight. Emily is struggling with the changes. She keeps asking for daddy and doesn't understand why we're not home. It breaks my heart, but I keep reminding myself that growing up watching your father manipulate and emotionally abuse your mother would be far worse than having separated parents. I have my first court appearance next week to discuss temporary custody arrangements. Samuel's lawyer sent a threatening letter listing all the ways they'll prove I'm an unfit mother, my history of mental instability, I saw a therapist twice after my parents' divorce, my lack of financial responsibility, I let Samuel handle all our money, and my pattern of making false accusations, referring to me talking about his behavior at work. I'm terrified about the custody battle ahead, but I know I have to stay strong for Emily. Right now, I'm focusing on documenting everything and building a support system. Katie and Sarah have been helping me reconnect with old friends Samuel made me distance myself from. Thank you again for all the support. I'll update when I can, but things might get complicated with the legal proceedings starting. Update 2: the past few weeks have been absolute chaos, but I need to share what's happened because the situation has completely exploded. After my last update, I met with my lawyer to discuss custody arrangements. She was confident about our case, especially given Samuel's behavior at Emily's daycare and the documentation I had of his threats. We filed for temporary full custody with supervised visitation for Samuel. This apparently triggered something in him because things escalated quickly. First, he started telling everyone at work that I had cheated on him with Mark, a coworker from IT. Mark is happily married with 3 kids, and has only ever been professional with me. The rumors got so bad that Mark's wife received anonymous messages about our supposed affair. When Mark complained to HR, Samuel claimed he was just sharing his concerns about workplace inappropriate behavior. The company finally launched an investigation after 3 more young female employees came forward about Samuel's inappropriate behavior. But the investigation feels like a joke. The HR manager conducting it is a close friend of Samuel's. They play golf together every weekend. They put me on paid leave to maintain a neutral workplace environment but let Samuel continue working. Then something unexpected happened. I received a message on Instagram from Anna, Samuel's ex-girlfriend, the one he was meeting behind my back. She asked to meet in person, saying she had important information. My sister came with me as a precaution. What Anna revealed completely blindsided me. She and Samuel never actually broke up when he started pursuing me. They had been together for 5 years, and she had no idea about me until she saw him with a pregnant teenager at a restaurant. When she confronted him, he convinced her that I was obsessed with him, that I got pregnant on purpose to trap him, and that he only married me to do the right thing. He manipulated her into continuing their relationship, promising to leave me once Emily was older. Anna showed me years of messages and photos, including some from when I was pregnant. While I was dealing with morning sickness and prenatal appointments alone, he always had work excuses. He was on romantic getaways with her. She finally ended things last month after discovering he was also seeing 2 other women. But here's the real bombshell: Anna works in HR at another company. She told me about 3 young employees who left her company after internships several years ago, all filing complaints about Samuel's inappropriate behavior when he was in charge of the intern program there. The complaints were quietly handled with NDAs. This was before he joined our company. When this information reached our HR department through official channels, they had no choice but to expand their investigation. Several senior managers who had been protecting Samuel suddenly distanced themselves. 2 days ago, he was placed on administrative leave. Samuel completely lost it after being suspended. He showed up at Sarah's house last night, clearly drunk, demanding to see Emily. When we wouldn't let him in, he started screaming about how we all conspired to ruin his life. Sarah called the police, but he left before they arrived. He's been sending increasingly erratic messages since then. His family's reaction has been interesting. His sister, who previously posted those nasty stories about me, reached out to apologize. Apparently, Samuel used similar manipulation tactics within his family, playing victim and making me sound crazy. After the truth about Anna came out, they started seeing through his lies. Emily is thankfully too young to understand what's happening, but she's picking up on the tension. She had a meltdown yesterday when she saw Samuel's photo on my phone. The child therapist says this is normal given the sudden changes in her life, but it still breaks my heart. My lawyer is using all this new information to push for an emergency custody order with no visitation until Samuel completes anger management and substance abuse evaluation. The evidence from Anna and the previous HR complaints has strengthened our case significantly. I feel like I'm living in a bad movie. How did I not see any of this before? 4 years of my life were based on lies. The loving husband and father I thought I knew never existed. He was showing his true self to everyone else while maintaining this perfect facade at home. I'm still on paid leave from work, which is frustrating, but my lawyer says it's better to stay away until the HR investigation concludes. Some colleagues have reached out privately to show support, but most are keeping their distance, probably afraid of jeopardizing their jobs. The next few weeks will be crucial with the custody hearings and HR investigation results pending. I'll update when I can, but right now I'm focusing on keeping Emily safe and maintaining documentation of everything. Update 3: A lot has happened since my last update, and I finally feel ready to share everything. The divorce is moving forward, though Samuel is making it as difficult as possible. The court granted me an emergency restraining order after the drunk incident at Sarah's house. His visitation rights were suspended when he failed to show up for his court-ordered substance abuse evaluation and anger management assessment. The company's HR investigation concluded last month. They found a pattern of inappropriate behavior spanning years. 9 female employees in total came forward about his harassment. They also discovered he had been falsifying sales reports to increase his commissions. Samuel was terminated with cause. His response to being fired was frightening. He showed up at the office, screaming about conspiracies and threatening to sue everyone. Security had to remove him. He then started sending mass emails to company executives with wild accusations about various employees, including claims that I had seduced him as part of some elaborate plan to ruin his career. The restraining order became even more crucial after what happened 2 weeks ago. Samuel somehow found out I was interviewing for a new job. He followed me to the interview and waited in the parking lot. When I came out, he tried to force me into his car, saying we needed to talk things out. Thankfully, a security guard noticed and intervened. Samuel was arrested for violating the restraining order but was released on bail the next day. Sarah convinced me to move in with her permanently. We live in a gated community now, and Emily's new daycare has extensive security measures. I started my new job last week. It's a better position with higher pay, and most importantly, they know my situation and have been very supportive about security concerns. The custody battle has been brutal. Samuel's lawyer tried to paint me as an unstable young mother who seduced an older successful man and then falsely accused him of misconduct when he wanted to leave. But the evidence was overwhelming: the HR complaints from 2 companies, the arrest record from the parking lot incident, text messages showing his threats and manipulation, and testimony from multiple witnesses about his behavior. Last week, the judge awarded me full custody. Samuel can only see Emily in a supervised visitation center, and he must complete substance abuse treatment and anger management before even that is allowed. He hasn't attempted to set up any visits yet. His family situation has changed dramatically too. His sister provided a written statement to the court about his history of manipulative behavior. Their mother still defends him but admitted to my lawyer that he's had episodes like this since college. Apparently, this isn't the first time he's pursued much younger women and then terrorized them when they tried to leave. Emily is doing better with the help of her therapist. She stopped asking about Samuel after he missed her birthday last month. She loves living with Sarah, who has become like a second mom to her. I feel guilty sometimes that my daughter won't have her father in her life, but I know this is better than exposing her to his abuse and manipulation. I'm not dating and honestly don't plan to for a long time. I'm focusing on Emily, my new job, and rebuilding my life. Sarah helped me start taking classes at the local community college, something Samuel always discouraged, saying I didn't need education since I had him. Some of our mutual friends still think I overreacted or somehow caused Samuel's behavior. I've cut contact with most of them. Katie and I are slowly rebuilding our friendship, though it's different now. She's been helping me process everything with a domestic violence support group she volunteers with. Looking back, I can't believe how many red flags I ignored. But I was barely an adult when he targeted me, and he knew exactly how to manipulate my insecurities. I'm sharing this final update hoping it might help someone else recognize these signs earlier than I did.